unless you've probably been living under a kind of rock in the last few days, Julian Alvarez is the big name now on the docket. This was a Sam Maguire exclusive, so shout out to Sam, that broke the other day that Liverpool are interested in Julian Alvarez, is on their radar. Now, as part of this story as well, also in the article, Sam references that it's come out, and Fabrizio Romano has even mentioned it today, Liverpool are well in as well for Isak. They're in the mix there, and Benjamin Sesko comes in to the party as well. Two players that we have told you about before on Transfer Market Metrics. We have done profiles of before, so we'll talk about them a little bit more. But it's Alvarez where we've got to start. And I mean, Bart, I'm excited by this because even just headline retail stats, this boy's got 23 goals already. We know about what he can do. We know about what he can bring to the party from City. What can you tell us about Julian Alvarez?
So, always start with minutes played, all right? I think it's important because as anyone who watched any other shows we do, Stat Me Out with the rest is our players are just, we need to play a vast volume of minutes. And as we are now learning that Slot likes a, should we say, smaller squad than normal? Not normal, but he likes a bit of a reduced squad. I mean, Klopp likes a small squad, but Slot seems to want to take it on a level. So you need to bear that in mind when we're looking at forward. So his minutes here this season, 1,800 minutes. So that's a little bit down a lot. He played 26 last season. That's up from his first season at City. And in 26 he got, so he's probably on course if he carries on playing and starting at the rate. They got 30, they're out of the Champions League now, aren't they? So he's probably got another 8 games to go. So yeah, pretty good chances he's going to hit last year's total at least and maybe increase on it. All right. So that would suggest to me that he has the pedigree to play the numbers we require. And if we increase by 25%, which is kind of normally the max amount you'd increase, he'd hit 3,000 minutes, which is not a bad benchmark to have. And then you'd have rotation options going forward. So first things first, decent. That's playing time kind of done. Okay, in terms of XG, we've got, it's per 90. Sorry, he's got XG is in and around 0.44 a game. I mean, you can't get much more consistent than 4-3, 4-4, 4-4, right?
Yeah.
His assists in his last season at City was slightly up, but then he's playing with Haaland, so you kind of got to take that into account. But it's still 0.44 a game. So goals and assists per game is 0.58. Now, if you remember when we were looking at some of the other players we were looking at, who were in around the 0.6, 0.65. If you look at some of Darth's numbers, analysis done on our forwards in Discord, for those who follow that with AI, Anfield Index, that is, the 0.6 to 0.65 is kind of what you want for a Liverpool forward. All right? So he is in and around that benchmark, and his last season at City, he was definitely at that benchmark of about 0.66. So all the signs there suggest that this is a boy that is the pedigree we would require. Okay, he's also only was he 20? Was that 22? He's young, so he's a fairly young player. 25, sorry. So he's coming. That's a good age to be having good minutes. So let's get into our green bars, as everyone likes to call them. Defensively, what does he do to help us out as a team? So area clearances, okay, that's fine. All right. But what's good about him, he has blocks, he does interceptions, his tackles. He plays for Atletico. They are asked to do the pressing, the blocking, the passing chains, getting in the way, making an interception. So he will know exactly, give or take a few little tweaks, how to operate in a high press system. As part of our 4-2-4, this would be, he has the pedigree here. 88th percentile for tackles. He probably would be required to do that. It'd be asked to do more interceptions and blocks. He's 83 percentile forward in terms of blocks, which tells you he gets in the right areas to block that passing lane. So this is a good profile for one of our forwards. What does he do in between the boxes, though? How does it help us get up the pitch? Typical old school, but generally that's what it is. So progressive passes received. So you receive 70% of them. That's good. It's in the right position, in the right areas to receive that pass. Okay. Touches in the attacking penalty box, a little bit low, 44 percentile. So might spend a little bit too far outside the box, but okay. Progressive carries, 91st percentile. And then we look at progressive passes, 87. So typically, you see one or the other. Yeah, one of them is high, one of them drops to about 70 percentile. These are both exceptional. So he can carry the ball and he can pass it progressively. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Somehow. Passing completion. For a forward, 87%. Now, given that we normally let more at about 70%, this boy's 76%, sorry, 87 percentile. So he's extremely high in terms of his passing accuracy. In terms of passes attempted, he's 94 percentile. So he plays a lot of passes for playing in position. But what does he do in that box? So non-penalty XG, 80th percentile. Good. Okay. Non-penalty XG, a little bit lower down. Shots total, 2.8 a game, which is 63rd percentile. So we would probably be expecting that to go a little bit higher, but opportunity. Yeah, Atletico, defensively minded team. Absolutely. Even Griezmann's, I would imagine, is lower down for that, right? So he plays for more an attacking based side. It probably would be, it's about opportunities to take those shots on as much as anything. Look at Chiesa, comes off the bench, hits his straps, gets his shots off. So I think it's opportunity for him. Assist 42nd. Okay, we can live with that. It's not brilliant, but it's not the worst. But if you combine that all together, shot created action, so assists and XG and shots, and everything taken together, 90th percentile. That's one of the highest with profile because even we've done beyond that. So that's very, very good. Now, people like to see an overlay, and we'll do that. So the other player he's up against here, I put Isak in. That's red. Okay, so Isak has got more XG. He's got more assists. The attacking side of it, I would say, is slightly more enlarged than Alvarez, right? It's in blue here. But Alvarez has passed the ball more. He's got a higher pass completion. He competes very well for the progressive passing and carries. His touches is better than Isak's, and defensively he's better. Okay, down here. But there are others that dribbles, tackle, percentage of dribblers tackle. Okay, Isak comes up as pretty special, to be honest with you. Now, if we were comparing him with any of our current forwards, I don't know if I've got any of them in actually. No, we haven't, so we won't worry about that. But so in terms of those comparison, I think Isak is probably more refined as an out 9, should we say?
Yeah.
As Alvarez gives you a lot more on the other clock sides of the place. But they're both very good players. By the way, I just want to put it in there. They're both good players. This is a bit like going, oh, do you want that or that? And they're both worth it. So going to our usual analysis. So these are the pass network for Atletico. They played Real Madrid in this game, so you can't really argue with the quality of the game we're chucking in here. Alvarez actually scored in this game as well. Atletico, medium low block. That's how they set up. Looking to play him in, right? Okay. He has the ball, considering Atletico set up the way they do. He's had a touch nearly every other minute, should we say. He has a period here in 60-75, he doesn't get a lot of ball. I think Madrid's scoring that period of time. So the other thing to note is Atletico play, they've got low passing chains, okay? So he's involved in a lot of the latter end of a move. Which would be different from us. That is part of our armory, but we also like to keep the ball pen them in. So something to know.
Yeah.
But that also, considering when you normally see this type of stat, you normally don't see a lot of this. Now there isn't a lot of passes here, but there is a pass in zone 14, left half space and right space, which you typically wouldn't see with that low. So that's not bad. It's not brilliant, but it's not bad. Just moving on a little bit. So what does he do in terms of threat? So how does he help us defensively off the ball? 100% the EPT. He stops 100% he faced. So again, that defensive works really good for him.
Yeah.
In terms of where they create threat, so he's operating in these areas here. So that's zone 14. That's 9%. If he's out to left half space, 17 combining. that's a very good option to see him start to develop. If we look at what he does off the ball, so the pressures he puts in would be around, he's not involved that much, but they would typically drop back into this area here. So it's not high numbers, but it's not low, should we say.
Yeah.
XG, he's got his goal, 0.36. His shots in this game quite wide. It's playing in that left half space where the high amount of threat was created. So yeah, for me, there's enough signs there for me to suggest that this player could fit in for us. Profiles really well. I think on and off the ball, there's some really good assets to look at. I can't get the physical minutes because the Liga don't release them publicly, unlike Bully. But yeah, I think this is a player I would hope excites people. I think that could give us. So we talk about Pedro as well. I think we've looked at him, João Pedro at Brighton, but he gave a lot of creativity. But we were worried about the output element, should we say?
Yeah.
Well, Alvarez seems to give a good part and parcel of both. And he hasn't got maybe the discipline issues of Kuna at Wolves. So yeah, I think as a link, I think this makes sense to me. And yeah, if the money's right, this could be a very good move for us.
It's funny, isn't it, Bart? Like you say, people like João Pedro, and we liked a lot of his stats, but people will look at it and say, well, Pedro's got 15 goal contributions overall with only 8 goals. Alvarez has got 23 goals in all comps. And people will also say, well, he's only scored 11 in La Liga, although he scored against Barca the other night against Isak. But in a defensive team, exactly as you say, people cannot ignore the setup that El Cholo puts on at Atletico. They've only scored about 45, I think, all season in La Liga, but they've only conceded. And this is before they got shanked by Barca by 4 goals the other night. Before then, it was 18. So it's a 4-5-1. It's a style of play. Like you said, there's so much to like. Even in that defensive team, I know you talk about that golden number of shots average per game. It's not far off 3 in a defensive team. And also, you've talked before about his all-round game and those assist numbers. People forget he played a few positions with Haaland at City. So he's got Premier League experience too. And he got 12 assists last season. So there is a million things to like when we're talking about this. And I can see from the chat panel, people absolutely loving Alvarez beyond belief. Maybe, and I know LAPS, I'm putting that on the screen, dream signing, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm just preparing myself to be disappointed again. This is why we do transfer market metrics. There is no guarantee. But I suppose, Bart, for the money that's going to be talking, you expect over 100 million naturally, because he went for 80 million, we believe, to them last season. Liverpool were interested. That clearly came out. Hidalgo, his agent, said yes, they were. We'll see what happens this summer. So it would be north of 100 million. But for you, even north of 100 million, this is seeming like all the numbers match up, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I could bring up, but take my word for it, is for me, if you're spending that amount of money, the player is bulletproof. Right now, touch wood for him, he doesn't pick up an injury for in the season, but he's proven season after season, he hasn't picked up the large amount of injuries that would cause me to have a problem with spending that amount of money. Because if we're going to invest that kind of money, for me, they have to play week in, week out.
Yeah.
The biggest fundamental problem we've had this season is that whoever we've decided to play the 9, either has been a fill-in, i.e. Diaz, in that period just before Christmas, just after, or you've got Jota and Nunes, and neither, for what different reasons, have managed to tie that place down. If we're going to go up a level in terms of a team, we need to have a 9 who can play game in, game out, and is available. And for me, that's why a player like Alvarez, there'll be many more out there, I'm sure, we'll do some more of them, makes a lot of sense. And I would be happy, it's not my money, but I would understand why you would be happy to sanction a deal for 100 million plus, because you know you're getting this level of performance and he's going to play week in, week out. And that's key for me.